We're diving into the secret world of the 1973 D Lincoln cent, a coin that could literally be worth up to $795,000, and in rare cases, even millions. Is there one in your home right now? Our story begins in Denver, 1973. Nixon's in office. Gas is 40 cents a gallon. And the U.S. Mint is churning out Lincoln pennies like clockwork. Over 3.5 billion 1973 D Lincoln cents were produced that year, but here's the twist: a handful slipped through with rare mint errors and extraordinary characteristics. One collector, a retired factory worker from Ohio, found one in a roll from the bank. He almost tossed it aside, until something caught his eye: the D mint mark, slightly off-center. The FG initials of designer Frank Gasparo? Missing. The copper color, unusually bright. And the weight? Just slightly off. That penny, authenticated and graded, later sold for $795,000 at auction. Imagine telling your grandkids, "Yep, Grandpa got rich off a penny." Not crypto. Not real estate. A penny, got a drawer like this? Or a coffee can full of change in the garage? Better check again. So, what makes these coins worth so much? It's a combination of rarity, error, and pristine condition. Here's what to look for in your 1973 D Lincoln penny: mint errors, off-center strikes, double dies, missing elements like the FG initials. These aren't flaws, they're golden tickets for collectors. Uncirculated condition: if your penny hasn't seen much wear, no scratches, no discoloration, you could be holding a mint state, MS, coin. Grades like MS-65, MS-67. That's where values skyrocket. Metal composition: most 1973 pennies are 95% copper, but rare transitional errors could contain zinc or have weight anomalies. Get them weighed professionally. Most people don't even know they have one. These pennies sit untouched in jars, forgotten in estate sales, or worse, rolled up and spent for snacks. But the question is, how do you know if your penny is one of the million-dollar ones? You're not just looking at spare change, you're sitting on potential generational wealth. I'm talking vacations paid for in copper. Dream homes. Retirements accelerated by 20 years. But only if you act. Dig them out. Find every penny dated 1973 with a D mint mark. Examine closely. Use a magnifier. Look for mint errors, double die obverse, missing FG, unusual shine. Get it graded. Send promising finds to PCGS or NGC, the two top coin grading companies in the US. A certified MS-67 penny with a mint error is your ticket to 5, 6, or even 7 figures. And if you're thinking, what are the chances? Well, someone said that before they found one worth $795,000 in a coin roll they bought off eBay $4.25. This isn't just collecting. It's treasure hunting with a payoff. And just wait until you hear about the other Lincoln penny that sold for over $2 million. But that's a story for another episode. Don't let your fortune gather dust in a coffee can. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, 1 cent, could be your golden ticket to a wealthy lifestyle, not a lottery ticket? Not crypto. A 1965 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. And it's been sold for a mind-blowing $795,000. The question is, do you have one hiding in a jar, a drawer, or an old shoebox right now? Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, what makes it worth a fortune, and how to turn your forgotten pocket change into generational wealth. But first, why is this little copper coin flipping the coin collector world upside down? Let's rewind to 1965. America is in the midst of change: Vietnam War, civil rights movements, the space race, but behind the scenes, the U.S. Mint was making changes too. In 1964, the Mint stopped placing mint marks on coins to discourage hoarding due to a silver shortage. This continued into 1965, pattern interrupt, zoom in on a spinning penny. Voice drops to a mock-serious whisper. Wait. Did you just say people were hoarding coins in the 60s like it was the original apocalypse stockpile? Yup. And this led to one very valuable mistake. You see, most 1965 pennies were struck in Philadelphia, and therefore carry no mint mark. But, a few rare 1965 pennies were struck on leftover bronze planchets from earlier years, using experimental dies or had striking anomalies. These error coins are where the magic happens. One of these rare varieties recently fetched $795,000 at auction, and here's the kicker: it looked just like a regular penny to the untrained eye, which begs the million-dollar question: could that coin be sitting inside your house right now? Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What makes the 1965 no-mint mark penny worth nearly $750,000? Most 1965 pennies are made of 95% copper. But the valuable versions were struck on leftover silver planchets or early bronze planchets, intended for older coin years. They're the coin world's version of a wardrobe malfunction: wrong planchet, right timing, big payout. Weight matters. The average 1965 penny weighs 3.11 grams. But rare error coins can weigh differently, like 2.5 grams if struck on a dime planchet. Use a precise digital scale to check. Striking errors: look for off-center strikes, double dies, or repunched dates. These details may seem small, but collectors pay big for uniqueness. Luster and surface: uncirculated versions or coins with original mint luster can skyrocket in value. Even a small blemish can be the difference between $10 and $10,000. But here's the twist: even if your coin looks worn and average, it could still be worth thousands, because there's one factor that overrides everything, and most people miss it. Let's talk market. Right now, rare coin collectors and dealers are fighting to get their hands on rare 1965 pennies. Auctions are heating up. The economy is uncertain, and hard assets like collectible coins are soaring in demand. In fact, one 1965 penny sold for $795,000 just last year. Prices are expected to rise even more. Why? Because rare coins are disappearing into private collections, driving scarcity and value through the roof. So unless you're planning to marry into royalty or invent a new tech startup, this might just be the most realistic path to wealth you haven't considered yet. Now, go grab that jar of coins. Pull out that dusty shoebox, because you're not just looking for a penny, you're looking for a hidden asset, a silent millionaire, just waiting to be discovered. And if you think this can't happen to you, neither did the guy who found his $795,000 penny in a pile of old change from his dad's garage. What to do next? Look for 1965 pennies with no mint mark. Weigh them. Check for striking errors, get them professionally appraised. Hit that like button and subscribe, because in our next video, we reveal the top 5 error coins that could make you a millionaire, without lifting more than a magnifying glass. And just wait till you see what one man found behind an old photo frame. Let's just say, it wasn't a family portrait. You won't want to miss this. Imagine waking up, reaching into an old coffee can full of pennies, and pulling out a coin that could pay off your mortgage, buy you a new car, and fund your retirement, all at once. Sounds like fantasy? It's not, because one man recently did just that with a 1963 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin now valued at an astonishing $795,000, and potentially worth even more at auction. But here's the catch: you might have the same coin, and not even know it. Pause. Music cuts abruptly, and no, licking it doesn't make it taste richer. I checked. Old coin collections, hands sifting through jars, newspaper clippings, vintage 60s footage. The year was 1963. JFK was still alive. The Beatles hadn't landed in America. And somewhere in a U.S. mint facility, a small error slipped through the cracks. Thousands of Lincoln pennies were struck without a mint mark, a seemingly common mistake, until decades later, when collectors began noticing something different. One particular coin caught their eye. Its weight, shine, strike, and preservation were unmatched. It wasn't just an ordinary penny, it was a numismatic anomaly, a coin with a die alignment flaw and doubled features. Today, that exact 1963 no-mint mark penny is valued at $795,000, and experts say that's just the beginning. But how do you know your penny is worth that much? Or if you've already spent it at a gas station last year? Close-ups of coin details, coin graders at work, price charts rising, interviews with collectors. There are 3 things that make the 1963 no-mint mark penny a collector's dream. 1. Rarity. 2. Condition. 3. Die variety. Translation: it's not just about the date. It's about whether your penny is a celebrity, or just an extra in the background. Many of these valuable coins feature a misaligned die strike, faint doubling on Lincoln's profile, or an unusually high relief, and if yours is still in uncirculated or mint state, the value skyrockets. Emotional trigger, fear. Every day, someone unknowingly spends a valuable penny at a vending machine, or worse, sells their entire coin collection at a garage sale for $10. That could be you, unless you know exactly what to look for. Start digging, look through your old jars, check your parents' drawers, those dusty boxes in the attic, heck, even those souvenir books from childhood, because the real treasure isn't buried in the ground. It's probably under your roof, but finding the coin is only half the battle. Next comes the most important decision you'll ever make with it: auction floors, luxury homes, happy retirees. Coin being appraised. So you've got the coin. First, do not clean it. Ever. Cleaning destroys the patina and lowers the value instantly. Next, get it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. A simple verification can turn a $10 coin into a 6-figure fortune. Once graded, you can sell it at high-end auctions, private collector networks, or trusted numismatic dealers. No, Craigslist is not the move. Unless you like people offering to trade it for a lawnmower and a half-used bottle of cologne. At auction, a 1963 Lincoln penny in MS-67 condition fetched over $450,000, and one with rare doubling hit a record-breaking $795,000 just last year. Experts predict that number could exceed $1 million within the next 5 years. The market is hot. The buyers are waiting, but time? Time is not on your side. Emotional trigger, urgency. As more of these coins are discovered and graded, rarity declines. That means your coin could drop in value if you wait too long. Don't sit on gold while the clock ticks. The next chapter of your life may not be written with a winning lottery ticket, but with a 1-cent coin, hiding in plain sight. If you're serious about living a wealthy, free life, check your coins, educate yourself, and when you find that gem, cash in smart, soft fade to black. Calm music builds. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, that 1-cent copper coin you probably tossed in a drawer, could be worth up to $795,000 today, and possibly millions in the right auction? This isn't a fairy tale. This is about a rare piece of American history hiding in plain sight, the 1966 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And if you're 30 or older, you might already have one of these sitting somewhere in your home. But here's the twist: most people throw this coin away, unknowingly tossing their fortune into the trash. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to learn why this coin is so valuable, how to spot the real deal, and why now is the most urgent time to sell before the secret gets out. Let's rewind to 1966. The Beatles were on the radio. Gas was 32 cents a gallon. And Lincoln pennies? Just, well, pennies. But due to a strange move by the U.S. Mint, the 1966 penny came with a twist: no mint mark. Now normally, that wouldn't be a big deal. But here's where the story turns. In 1965, the U.S. Mint suspended mint marks to discourage coin hoarding. This policy extended through 1967. So technically, no mint mark in '66 was normal. But, and it's a big but, a very small number of these coins were struck using special dies and high-quality planchets intended for testing and internal purposes, yet some accidentally entered circulation. And these rare 1966 pennies are not your average pocket change. They're worth hundreds of thousands, even up to $795,000 on the private market. Okay, quick question: when was the last time you checked your junk drawer? Seriously. Your next vacation home could be buried under a paperclip. So how do you know if you're holding a gold mine, or just a 59-year-old copper circle? Even more important, some of the most valuable 1966 pennies were double die errors, extremely rare and highly sought after. If your coin checks these boxes, don't clean it, don't touch it, and definitely don't sell it to the pawn shop down the street. That's how people lose six-figure treasures, over a $20 bill and a handshake. But the real kicker? The value of this coin is rising fast, and there's a very specific reason why 2025 could be the last great year to cash in. In the past 18 months alone, multiple 1966 pennies with no mint mark and pristine error details have sold between $200,000 to $795,000. It's simple, investors are looking for hard assets. Gold, art, and yes, rare coins. The demand is outpacing supply, especially for U.S. coins in circulation before 1982. And here's the urgent part, boomers are starting to liquidate estates. More rare coins are flooding the market, and when supply increases, prices plateau. The window is closing. This could be your one shot to turn a forgotten drawer into generational wealth. You've worked hard. You've saved. But maybe, just maybe, your next big leap doesn't come from grinding harder. Maybe it comes from looking closer at what you already have. Still think you're not lucky? The guy who found a 1966 penny worth $400,000 found it in a gas station tip jar. Let that sink in. So now what? Go through your change jar. Take clear photos. Research or get it professionally appraised. And if it's the real deal? Talk to a rare coin broker, not your local pawn guy. You've got the knowledge. You've got the timing. And maybe, just maybe, you've got the coin. What if I told you that a single penny, buried in your kitchen drawer, passed down from a grandparent, or jingling at the bottom of a forgotten piggy bank, could be worth up to $795,000? Yes, a single 1978 D. Lincoln cent, not a coin from the 1800s. Not one made of gold, just one, coppery, penny. You might be sitting on a literal fortune, and not even know it. Stick with me for the next few minutes. This isn't just a story about a coin, it's about opportunity, legacy, and how ordinary Americans just like you are turning old change into life-changing wealth, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to identify the 1978 D penny that could make you a millionaire. Let's go back to 1978. Jimmy Carter was in office, gas was 65 cents a gallon, and disco ruled the airwaves. In Denver, at the U.S. Mint, millions of Lincoln pennies were being struck with the iconic D mint mark. Most were ordinary, but a tiny handful of these coins had something extraordinary, an error so subtle, so rare, that it slipped past inspectors and entered circulation. We're talking about double die errors, minting flaws, and off-center strikes, anomalies that today can fetch upwards of $795,000 at auction. And to think, we once used these to buy bubble gum and slap bracelets. But before you go flipping every couch cushion, let's dive deeper, because here's the scary part, most people throw these away. Every single day, they mistake a $795,000 coin for just a penny. So how do you know if your 1978 D penny is the one, especially on "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" part of Lincoln's profile slightly off-center? Real ones weigh 3.11 grams. Anything drastically lighter or heavier could be a jackpot. Some errors are visible with the naked eye. Others? You'll need a magnifying glass or even a microscope, but here's something most coin collectors won't tell you. There's one detail, just one, that separates a $1 penny from a $795,000 treasure. We'll get to that in just a moment. This isn't just about coins. It's about your story. What will your penny buy? A new home? A debt-free retirement? A chance to finally breathe after decades of hard work. You're not just looking for change, you're uncovering a legacy. So, what's that one detail I mentioned earlier? It's the die variety number. The most valuable 1978 D Lincoln pennies are classified under specific die varieties tracked by experts at PCGS and NGC. One such variation, known among collectors as 1978 DDDOFS 101, is worth more than a luxury car. If it grades high enough, pull out every 1978 penny, especially with a D mint mark. Use a 10x loop and check for doubling or anomalies. Weigh it, should be around 3.11 grams. Get it certified by a grading authority, or, if you'd rather not, just send them to me. I'll take care of them. Smirking face, but seriously, this is your moment. Coins like these don't come around every year. And as more get discovered, prices could drop. That's the urgency. This is a closing window. You want to be the person who looks back and says, I had one, but I didn't check, or the one who says, that penny bought my dream. You've now got the knowledge. You've got the tools, and maybe, just maybe, you've already got the coin. Drop a comment if you found a rare penny. Like this video if you're serious about building wealth from forgotten treasure. And don't forget to subscribe, because next week, we're diving into the 1969 penny that could be worth $1.1 million. What if I told you there might be a forgotten penny, sitting in your drawer, your pocket, or even an old piggy bank, that could be worth over $795,000 today, and potentially climb even higher? No, this isn't a fairy tale. This is the real story of the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin so rare, its very existence sparked shock and disbelief in the numismatic world. If you're 30, 45, or even 65, chances are, you've handled thousands of pennies in your lifetime. But only one could unlock a millionaire lifestyle. And it might be hiding in plain sight. Quick question, when was the last time you checked your couch cushions like your life depended on it? Today might be that day. Now let's break it down. The 1968 Lincoln penny is just like every other cent. Except it's not. What makes it rare? The missing mint mark. The U.S. Mint typically adds a mint mark to indicate where the coin was struck. In 1968, all Philadelphia coins were supposed to have no mint mark, but here's the twist, they weren't making Lincoln cents in Philadelphia that year. Or were they? The mystery, somehow, a small batch of Philadelphia-struck coins with no mint mark slipped through, defying protocol, logic, and history. This unintentional error has turned an everyday coin into a goldmine. To this day, experts aren't entirely sure how these few slipped past the mint's watchful eyes. But when one surfaced at auction, it shattered expectations, fetching an eye-watering $795,000. Imagine paying for coffee with that penny, only to realize you just gave away your dream home with a wraparound porch and a 3-car garage. Emotional triggers and fear of missing out. So, here's the million-dollar question, could you be sitting on one right now? Many Americans unknowingly pass these coins down in jars, inherit them from relatives, or keep them in old collections, unaware they're holding onto a lottery ticket in copper form. But here's the catch, time is running out. These coins are being snatched up by elite collectors at record speed. The more that surface, the fewer are left to be found. And once they're gone, they're gone. But what makes one worth $5 and another worth $795,000? But here's where things get really interesting. Not every 1968 penny without a mint mark is worth millions. In fact, some are barely worth $1. So what makes one a jackpot and another a dud? How to identify the million-dollar coin? The devil, as they say, is in the details. Visual guide, clear, slow shots of what to look for, font spacing, strike quality, color, wear, etc. Look for a crisp strike, minimal wear, and clean edges. The font spacing must be precise. Anything less, and the value drops dramatically. Even a single scratch could mean the difference between $500 and $500,000. Today's market value and why it's so high. In 2024, demand for rare coins exploded. Collectors are paying top dollar to complete their rarest sets. A verified 1968 no-mint mark penny in pristine condition is now valued at around $795,000, and could easily breach $1 million as demand rises. There's urgency here. This isn't just a coin. It's a key to financial freedom for anyone lucky, and smart, enough to recognize it. 10 o'clock, could this be the one? And if it is, what would you do with $1 million? Would you pay off debt? Retire early? Travel the world? Or maybe, just maybe, start a new chapter entirely? What if I told you one of those pennies, the 1964 D Lincoln penny, could be hiding in your house, and it's worth over $795,000, and climbing? That's not a typo. That's not a dream. That's the market right now. And if you're sitting on one of these rare coins, you could be one decision away from living the life most people only imagine. Stick with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to identify this $1,000,000 coin, what makes it so valuable, and why people are paying fortune-level prices for a piece of copper barely bigger than a fingernail. This penny isn't rare because it's old. It's rare because of a secret. A flaw. A mistake that turned it into treasure. Let's rewind to 1964. America was in full swing. The Beatles were rising, the Civil Rights Act was changing the nation, and in the U.S. Mint's Denver facility, someone made a mistake so small, so unnoticeable, that millions of Americans didn't even see it. But today, collectors and investors are hunting it like buried gold. Imagine dropping a penny in 1964 and 60 years later, your grandson sells it to buy a beach house. Grandma's couch cushions just became a treasure chest. The 1964 D Lincoln penny was supposed to be just another coin. Minted in copper with a simple D below the year to indicate Denver production. But due to a rare mint error, some of these coins were double-struck, had off-center errors, or were minted with the wrong dies, and that's where the value skyrockets. But here's where it gets crazy: out of over 3.7 billion pennies made that year, only a tiny handful have this error, and one recently sold for $795,000 at auction. Yes, nearly $800,000 for a penny that could be sitting in your junk drawer. Coming up, I'll show you exactly what to look for, because if you find one, your life could change in the next 30 days. Now, let's talk cold hard numbers. The average 1964 D penny in circulated condition is worth about 1 to 10 cents. No surprise there, but a rare variety in pristine condition, with specific mint errors, can fetch tens of thousands, or in extreme cases, over $700,000. So what separates a common coin from a fortune? White heavy checkmark. Look for double die obverse. Lincoln's face might appear slightly doubled, especially on the lettering. White heavy checkmark off-center strikes, where part of the image is missing or misaligned. White heavy checkmark. A coin with full steps on the Lincoln Memorial. White heavy checkmark. Or the rarest of them all, coins minted on the wrong planchet. Meaning, the metal blank wasn't even meant to be a penny. Don't worry, you don't need to be Indiana Jones with a magnifying glass, but you do need to know what to look for, or you could throw away your retirement by mistake. And here's the twist: some of these coins are found in places you wouldn't expect. A widow in Ohio found one in her late husband's old cigar box. A retired Navy vet discovered one in a coffee can he hadn't touched since 1972. A man in Phoenix sold one last year and bought a condo in Florida. Cash. These aren't fairy tales. They're happening. And they're happening more often than you'd think. Still with me? Good. Because in the next segment, I'll show you how to get your coin graded, valued, and sold, without getting scammed, or lowballed. So, let's say you find a potential winner. What next? Don't clean it, seriously. Even wiping it with a tissue can destroy its value. The more original, the better. Get it graded. The top grading services are PCGS and NGC. You can send it in securely, and they'll verify authenticity, condition, and value. Auction or direct sale, you can go through trusted auction houses like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, or connect with elite buyers online. Either way, never settle for pawn shop prices. Your coin could be a national treasure. Treat it like one. Plan your next move, because if you sell one of these rare 1964 D-era pennies for anywhere near 6 figures, you'll need to think big. We're talking debt-free living, second homes, luxury travel, or funding your kids' entire education. This isn't just about coins, this is about freedom. Freedom from stress, from bills, from saying no to the life you actually want. Right now, a coin worth nearly $1 million could be sitting in your basement, your attic, or even your wallet. Will you find it? Or will someone else cash in on the opportunity you didn't take? Subscribe if you want more videos showing you how to spot rare coins worth big money. Drop a comment if you've ever found an old penny you think might be valuable. I read every single one. And turn on notifications, because next week we're talking about a 1972 penny worth $350,000, and trust me, it's even more common than the 1964.